Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at using angle relationships to find missing angle measures. So first, I want you to pause the video and write down these steps. So now that you have your steps, let me explain what we're doing. So last week, or in our previous lesson, we talked a little bit about parallel lines and transversals. And we found that if we have one angle measure, we can actually use that to find all of the others. So this week we're actually going to take that a step farther, and we're going to look at when we're given something that looks like this. So you'll notice the difference here. Last time we just had one number and we had to find all the other missing angle measures. This time we have expressions. So let's talk through how to use these steps. Let's look at example 1. So sometimes when we have these, we actually are going to be able to use angle measures that we already know to find what we don't know. So let's talk about those angle measures really quick. Before we do, let's write this example. So I have 7 plus 18x here, and I have 20x minus 5 here. Well, if you look back at our notes, the angle measures that we know that are the same, or the angle pairs, were vertical angles, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles. All of those had the exact same or congruent measures. The only ones that had something different were two straight angles, and they added up to 180 degrees. So let's look at how we can use that to solve our situations today. So first, I want to identify the angle relationship I see. So when I look here, I notice that they gave us two vertical angles. And I also know that two vertical angles are equivalent or equal. So I'm going to use that to do number 2 of my steps, which is set up your equation. So I'm going to set up 2x minus 5 equals 7 plus 18x. So I've used that angle measure to set up my equation. Now I can solve for x. So I'm going to do what I always do, and here I notice that the first thing I need to do is get all my letters to the left. So I'm going to subtract 18x from both sides. I'm left with 2x minus 5 equals 7. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. When I do that, I'm left with 2x equals 12. And then lastly, I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 6. So I've used my angle relationship to set up the equation. I've then solved that equation for x. And now I'm going to do my fourth step, which is to plug x into these expressions to find my actual angle measures. So I have 20x minus 5, and I have 7 plus 18x. So first let's do 20 times, and we said that x is 6, so 20 times 6 minus 5. 20 times 6 is 120, and when I subtract 5, I get 115 degrees. So what that tells me is this actual angle measure right here is 115 degrees. Well, since we know that vertical angles are the same, I should get the same exact thing when I plug 6 in here. So 7 plus 18 times 6. Remember, order of operations, I multiply first. So 18 times 6 is 108. And when I add 7 and 108, I again get 115 degrees. So the actual angle measure here is 115 degrees. So let's practice those steps some more. Example 2. So let's draw our parallel lines. Let's make our transversal go like this time. And here I have 5x plus 6. And over here in this angle, I have 8x minus 39. So our first step says to find the angle relationship. So if I look at these two angles, I notice that they're outside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are alternate exterior angles, which means they're equal. So I'm going to write my equation. 5x plus 6 equals 8x minus 39. Because they're equal, that's how I set it up in my equation. Now, to find the value of x, I just solve the equation. And I do notice that I need to get all my letters to the left. So I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. And I'm left with negative 3x plus 6 equals negative 39. Now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So negative 3x equals, those are same sign, so I'm actually going to add those. So I get 39 plus 6 is negative 45. And then my last step is to divide everything by negative 3. So x equals positive 15. So now that I have found the value of x, I'm going to plug that in, do my fourth step to find the actual angle measures. So I have 5x plus 6, and then I had 8x minus 39. Now I'm going to make a prediction. Because I set them equal to each other, I should get the same number both times. So let's do 5 times 15, because x is 15, plus 6. So I do 5 times 15 is 75, and then 75 plus 6 is 81 degrees. So this angle measures 81 degrees. 8 times x we said is 15 minus 39. So 8 times 15 is 120. And then I take that 39 away, and I get, again, 81 degrees. And that makes sense because they're congruent. Example 3. So let's draw our parallel lines this way this time. I'm going to draw my transversal here. And this angle is negative 8x plus 8. And I'm going to label this angle as negative 6x plus 20. So let's just go through our steps. That's how math works. We just have steps or a process. So first, here are my two angles. Is that one of the angles that I recognize? Yes, it is. Those are alternate interior angles, so they're equal to each other. So for step 2, my equation will be negative 8x plus 8 equals negative 6x plus 20. For step 3, I just solve for x. So first I notice I have to get my letters on the left. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides. I'm left with negative 2x plus 8 equals 20. Next, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides to get negative 2x equals 12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. So x equals negative 6. So I have solved for x. X is negative 6. Now I can plug that into my expressions for the fourth and final step to find the actual angle measures. So I'm going to write down those two expressions. So first I'm going to do negative 8 times, we said x is negative 6 plus 8. Now let's solve it. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48. And then 48 plus 8 is 56. So this angle measures 56 degrees. And since they're equal, they should be the same, but we still want to test. Negative 6 times negative 6 plus 20. Negative 6 times negative 6 is 36 plus 20, and there it is, our 56 degrees. So our other angle also measures 56 degrees. Example 4. So sometimes we know exactly what that relationship is. So let's practice a couple more of those. I had to take a look at my notes. So here we go. So we have 15x minus 2 and 11x plus 34. When I look at these two angles, I notice that those are corresponding angles. They match up. So those are also congruent. So for my step 2 equation, I'm going to write 15x minus 2 equals 11x plus 34. So that's my equation. Step 3, let's solve that equation. So I need to collect all my variables to one side. So subtract 11x from both sides. I get 4x minus 2 equals 34. Next, I want to add 2 to both sides. So I get 4x equals 36. And then I need to divide both sides by 4, so x equals 9. And then my last step is to plug those in. So I've got 15x minus 2 and 11x plus 34. So first I have 15 times 9 minus 2. And 15 times 9 is... Now, I'm using a calculator. You're also welcome to use a calculator for these steps. So I've got 135 minus 2, which is 133. So this angle actually measures 133 degrees. And let's find our other angle measure. 11 times 9 plus 34. So that's going to be 99 plus 34. And 99 plus 34 also equals 133 degrees. And that makes sense because we said they were congruent or the same. Which brings me to this example. Look at example 5. Let's draw our two parallel lines like this. So far, all of our equations have been equal. We're going to see something different here. So we have negative 5x plus 32, and then we have negative 20x plus 48. We're still going to follow our same steps. So first, find your angle relationship. Well, when I do that, I notice that these two are side by side and they make a straight line. So I'm going to add these two together and set that equation equal to 180. That's the only one. If they're side by side like that, they're going to equal 180. So I have negative 5x plus 32 minus 20x plus 48. So that's my equation. I'm adding everything together, setting it equal to 180 because those are straight angles. So first, I need to combine like terms. So if you haven't noticed, we are now putting angle relationships and solving equations together. So negative 5x minus 20x is negative 25x. 32 plus 48. 32 plus 48 is 80 equals 180. So next I need to subtract 80 from both sides. So I get negative 25x equals 100. And then I need to divide both sides by negative 25. So that gives me x equals negative 4. So now that I know what x equals, now this is the same. Plug in your x to find your actual angle measures. So I've got negative 5x plus 32, and I've got negative 20x plus 48. So negative 5 times x is negative 4 plus 32. So that's 20 plus 32. So this angle measures 52 degrees. Now, we didn't set these equal to each other. They're equal to 180. So this angle's not going to measure the same. Negative 20 times negative 4 plus 48. Negative 20 times negative 4 is positive 80. And then positive 80 plus 48 is 128 degrees. So those two angle measures are 52 degrees and 128 degrees. Now let me show you one more thing that you may have to do. Sometimes your angle relationship is not so apparent. Sometimes you have to move stuff around. So let's look at an example where we have to do that. So here are our parallel lines in our transversal. This angle is going to be 11x minus 9, and this angle is going to be 7x minus 9. Now, when I look at those two angles, that is not an angle relationship that we've talked about at all. But what I can do is I can use what I know to get to what I need. So, for example, isn't this angle corresponding to this angle? So I can move that 11x minus 9, and now what do we notice? I notice that this angle and this angle are right. They are not right, I'm sorry, straight angles. So I'm going to add them together, 11x minus 9 plus 7x minus 9, and set them equal to 180 degrees. Now let's just do that like normal. So first I need to combine like terms. So I've got 18x minus 18 equals 180. Next I want to add 18 to both sides to get 18x equals 198. And then I need to divide both sides by 18. So x equals 11. And then just like normal, now that I have written my equation, solve for x, I'm going to plug that 11 in to find out what those actual angle measures are. Now remember, since they're equal to 180, they're going to be different. So first I have 11 times 11, because that's what x is, minus 9. You get 121 minus 9. And when you do that, you get 115 degrees. So this angle over here was 115 degrees. And then let's do this one. 7 times 11 minus 9. So that's 77 minus 9, which is 68 degrees. So this angle over here is 68 degrees. Remember, follow your steps. First, identify your angle relationship. Move stuff if you need to get an angle relationship you know. Step 2, write your equation. Step 3, solve for x. Step 4, plug that x in to find what your actual angle measures are.